Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is going to be part 2 of the Rocket Raccoon and Groot illustration I've been working on for the past couple days. I've had a couple projects come in between. That's why I haven't posted the updated video. These are the pencils that I've been working on. I did a short video and uploaded it to YouTube. It kind of shows the progression of this particular piece, and I decided to go digital this time instead of inking it traditionally. The reason why is because I've had a program on my computer for a while called Sketchbook Pro, and I've used it for years and years, but I've never really kind of delved into the inner workings of the program. I usually work in a program called Clip Studio Paint, which is the American version of Mega Studio Pro, and I really have enjoyed, getting into that particular program and getting the inner workings of that program, because I've used Photoshop for years and years to do the majority of my digital painting. So that being said, what I'm doing right now actually is I'm going to work in this program. Now, I'm used to doing things a little bit different, so please forgive me if it takes a little bit longer for me to kind of acclimate to this particular program. However, this program is very intuitive, and intuitive meaning it kind of thinks, it has forethought of what you might expect that a program needs whenever you're working in it. So like right now, I'm looking for my tools, and of course, those of you who use this program normally are yelling at the screen right now. But that being said, I have used this program in the past, and they've updated it quite a bit, and which is interesting, so I really don't understand what's going on here. Okay, so maybe that's the problem. No, window, layer editor, there we go. So, go back on so here, go to black, okay, there we go. So come back to my brushes, watercolor, that's an eraser, that's interesting. So what's great about this program is the fact that it has customizable brushes. If you look over here on the left-hand side, you can see the different tool tabs. And here's my brush library tab that can be collapsed, and you can expand by double-clicking. And what's really great is if you go to the site, that shows. See, 9-spoke. Yeah, see, I think what it is you just maybe drag this over. No. Folder, new brush. Anyway, there's there are brushes posted every Wednesday that you can obtain for free, which is fantastic. I love companies that do stuff like that. On a regular basis. They really respect their users, and their users upload, they upload their brushes, and the company really just fosters, the creative community. Autodesk, this says Autodesk Sketchbook Pro membership. It's on a membership program, so you pay about $25 a year. You can do a monthly, I think it's $25 a year. Might be more than that. It might be $40 a year, $45 a year. But since I signed up early, then I was able to get a $15 discount. So what's great again about this program is the fact that it's got a great rendering engine. It's got a great a brush feel to it. You can do custom brushes. You can do a myriad of things, and I am a novice user whenever it comes to this program, even though I've used it for years and years as a rudimentary sketch program. I haven't really delved deep into what it can do, and that's exactly what I'm going to do on this piece. I'm going to delve into the program. I'm going to find out exactly some of the ins and outs of what it can do. If you look already, I only spent probably about 10 minutes. Not even, I would say probably about 5 minutes inking this piece, and I've already gotten quite far with respect to, where I want to go. So, and I don't like this particular. And two, I've got one, two, three Wacom pins, Wacom, however you say it. I know there is a correct spelling or how to say it, but I say Wacom. And I've got an older Cintiq 24 UX, actually it's a 21 UX, and I got it secondhand, but it's been fantastic. And these particular machines, these particular things, they don't really wear out per se. I mean, you can have them for years, and I just haven't had the money to spend another $2,000+ on an HD unit, and I'm sure eventually that'll be something that I do. But right now, I haven't been able to do that. So what's great again about this program is you can customize so many things. Oh my gosh, you can create your own brushes. You can determine the hardness, the softness of the brush, the thickness of the brush, the opacity of the brush, and you can do it on the fly, which is really cool. And then you can save the brushes, and you can export them. But what I like about this program is it's kind of it's bare bones. But it's got incredible roots to it, meaning you can do so much with the program, but also if you're just in here to do some simple sketch work and whatnot, then man, it'll support you. And Photoshop does the same thing, and Manga Studio does the same thing. But Alias, this particular program does it in such a way that it doesn't clutter. I don't feel like I'm overwhelmed. I can get in here and really start inking, pretty much immediately. And the rendering engine itself is fantastic. And I'm just using the the pencil tool right now, and I'm sure some of you guys are yelling, use this. I mean, my gosh, why don't you? The thing is again, in a learning curve, I have to, even though there might be specific great ways to do it, I have to find my own way. So I'm gonna excuse me, still dealing with that cold. I've got to find my own way to determine the best course that in terms of my workflow. So even though there might be incredible quick ways to do it, it might not be the best way for me. So I'm still learning this particular program. And again, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to put it on time lapse, and you're going to watch the progression of this piece in inking stage. And what I'm going to do basically is, after I get it inked, I'm going to kind of look at the tools that this particular program has, because it does have color and fill tools, and gosh, it's got a great customizable tool palette. It's got this this tab up here similar to a Mac dock, and you can go up and you can do certain things. What's really cool, I found, is a radial symmetry tool. I'm a big proponent of certain features and certain programs being kind of a standard, and always wondering why other programs don't have it. And of course, I'm sure that Photoshop, you can load a plugin for symmetry, but man, programs like Manga Studio Pro and this particular program really lend itself to drawing and painting, and that symmetry tool is essential in the workflow. If and I'll probably demonstrate that after I get a better handle on it. I don't want to be embarrassed and sit there and toil away while you guys are yelling at me. But this particular illustration, I'm going to try to go to final on it, just because recently I've really gotten into doing character designs and illustration on a level that kind of dictates that I finish some of these pieces. A lot of my clients that are interested in me doing that, they'll see the sketch work and they like it. Excuse me. However, what I'm realizing is, you got to show some final pieces. You got to show, again, the progression. And I looked for that whenever I was interviewing people at my old job. I needed to see not only a portfolio of variety, but also I needed to see a progression of the work from start to finish. And even though I've got a lot of work on my portfolio that does that, I think in the past few years I've kind of gotten away from finalizing some of these things, and shooting myself in the foot per se is not something that I like to do. So I'm gonna finish some of these pieces that I do. And again, getting into the digital world, I've worked in the digital world for golly since the year 2000. I've been working in Photoshop and Illustrator since '97. Whenever I went to school, and I fought it tooth and nail. I mean, I just hated doing digital illustration because I love the feel, the tactile feel of paper, pencil and paper. But what I failed to realize at the time is the amazing just workability that I have for time. Digital illustration is a great time saver. Whenever I work traditionally, I can sit there and do a piece, and then if quote unquote mess up, or I want to modify something, I have to go back and I have to there's methodologies to correct, whether it's tracing paper, whether it's doing things on a separate sheet of paper, and these things, they take time. But digital illustration, man, you can manipulate, you can change color, you can change format, you can skew, you can do so many things that really lend itself to the workflow. And I highly recommend, if some of you guys are learning how to draw, digital illustration is a fantastic format and tool for you guys to learn on. There's a billion. I mean, I don't know if there's a billion, but there's a lot of tutorials on, doing stuff in Photoshop and Illustrator and stuff like that. And I'm not going to reinvent the wheel here. What I'm just trying to do is expose my users to the ways that I do things. Now, in this particular illustration, I imported a JPEG, pretty simple. I saved my JPEG on my desktop. Here's my messy desktop. And I imported it. I just took a photo. I took a photo of it with my iPhone. Pretty simple. I dragged it into the app and sent it to myself and texted it to myself, and it showed up on my computer. Dragged it to my desktop, and then I went to File, Add Image. Here it is in that tab right here, Add Image, and then I went in and I selected it, wherever it is, right here. And then what that does is it imports it into a layer over here. You have the background right here, and then I went in and you see this little eyeball right here. You can basically hide that particular layer, but you can also adjust the opacity, and that is the key right there, the opacity. Since we're working on layers, you have to imagine in the digital world, you have the endless. Well, I guess endless, but it depends on your hardware. You have endless options as far as how you layer things, because whenever you flip it like this, it looks like one solid image. But whenever you turn it to the side, you have a myriad and a multiple of layers that you can go and adjust, layer effects, opacity. You can do so many things whenever it comes to the image itself. And you can't do that with traditional illustration. Of course, whenever I was doing, learning traditional illustration in school, I thought it was very interesting. One of the teachers, who remain nameless, we'll just call him the bearded one, because he had an epic beard, and it was completely awesome. His one of these days I'll end up doing a caricature of him, but he, showed one of his illustrations, and it was a friggin' mess in terms of just how it was executed, because he had things pasted. He would have like Rocket was pasted in there because it was drawn on another sheet of paper, and then you could see white out, and then you could see other pieces that were pieced together and cupped together. But at the end of the day, what he was doing was what you can now do digitally in Photoshop. And now that I look at it, I mean, the man, even though he had his character flaws, he was an incredible teacher, and I wish he would have been harder. Let's see what this does. Okay, this rotates. Okay, so rotate. Here, look, I can rotate the image. Okay, pretty easy. And then you have a move, okay? and I'm holding down the space bar. If you look, well, you can't look over here. I'm holding down the space bar. Space bar brings up the sub menu, this rotation tool, and then typically in the programs, you'll know if you've worked in these programs long enough, shift is typically a lock. So if you watch, what'll happen is I'll press this and then I'll press shift, okay, and it'll lock the image. Well, what's great is if you get close to the point, where is it at? It'll do it. There we go. And it completely locks it on the horizontal and vertical axes. So anyway, again, this particular teacher, I wish he was a little bit harder, and he might be today, or he might be a big softie. I don't know. I haven't gone back to really talk to him. I probably should here pretty soon. But anyway, what I'm going to do with this illustration is go in and do the details, ink it. My style is pretty simple. I go in and I vary the line weight depending on where it is on the top of the image. I'll have a varying line weight than it is from the bottom to show form. And then I do a really rough work in of the line work, and then I come back and I just basically I have fun. And it's very important that you kind of recognize, again, so that's messed up, so that you recognize that you need to have fun with this type of thing, and his neck kind of turns because he's turning. I wasn't really happy with the gesture on this particular character, but at the end of the day, what I had to, kind of recognize is, I am just having fun with this, and I'm trying to, teach you guys something, and I'm not wanting to spend too much time on it because I do have actual, real work to do. People are paying me to do stuff, so I can't sit here on the videos all day because, again, I don't make any money on the videos. But I'm going to go in and I'm going to try to finish inking this morning. Should take me about half an hour. And I'll do time-lapse for the remainder, and then hopefully I'll block some color in. I'm not going to go too overly, massively detailed. This might, again, it might take me more than a day to do this because I'm trying to take my time on this. And, again, I'm using, your standard basic pencil, and I've adjusted the hardness and thickness. And what's great about Sketchbook Pro is look at all the incredible brushes you can get. I mean, and your artist brushes, I mean, these are stinking incredible. I'll get into these a little bit more. I'll do some time lapse for the inking, and then once we get into color, I'll stop the time lapse and I will continue doing stuff for you guys. And as always, thank you guys for liking and subscribing and showing up. There's nothing in the world like, I don't want to say instant validation for what you do, but, since I am a freelancer, I don't get too much human interaction, which is, pretty normal in the freelance world. But anyway, like I was saying, I really appreciate it. And I wanted to get into this tool right here. This tool's pretty cool. It's an ellipse tool that basically, you can create ellipses, and what it does is once you get it in place, see, and I do any of this and it stays there. I mean, you can vary the thick, and it still has that drawn quality to it. So anyway, thank you guys, and I'm gonna go ahead and start time lapse. Okay, I've blocked in the majority of the inks of where I kind of want them to go. I don't want to get too out of control with them with the lights and the, the darks right now. What I'm going to do is, again, I'm not really familiar with the program too much, especially this particular version of it. This is version 8, the most recent version. What I'm going to do, ooh, my camera's moving, so hopefully it'll not mess up. Well, actually, it did. Okay. All right, we're back. Okay. So what I'm going to basically do now is, hopefully it'll stay. I think we're moving slowly. Yes, we are. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and utilize one of the artist brushes, which has to do with concept. It's a concept brush, and I saw it online. I watched a little MQ Expressive. Again, these are all the brushes that are included. This particular one is really cool. You can change the color on it, and it has to do. It's just really cool. So I'm going to do a little quick tonal study. Again, I'm going to switch it over to time lapse here in just a sec, and kind of see where I can go. Yeah, this is the first time that I've seen any of these brushes, and I love them. I love the quality of them. I love the feel. Here's the sizing little swatch-a-doo thing up there. Okay, this is fantastic. So again, and you can change the size, which is really cool. You can change the opacity. So I think I'm going to use brown though. Okay, so I'm going to use that color. So again, I've created a new layer over here. Delete. So how you create a new layer is basically, there's a couple ways. You can drag. See, it comes up with this little sub menu right here, and it's add a layer, delete a layer, so on and so forth. But I'm not going to do that. So here's the existing working layer that I'm going to be on, and I'm just going to go in and I'm going to start blocking in, my tone. Typically, I don't work on white paper. I don't like working on white paper, just because you're consistently fighting that extreme light. But this time I'm going to do things, again, I'm trying to step outside of my box. I'm trying to do things a little bit different, and really, utilize that really the whitest whites as the top highlights. And again, I'm keeping my underpaint, my underpainting under there, the under sketch. And the way, I'm kind of doing this in a traditional way. See if I'm going to do a pink background blue. Let's do blue. So I'll do a blue, really a quick blue wash in of the background. And this is kind of like a pastel concept brush that I really like. Again, if I use the paint bucket, maybe the entire thing. Ah, there we go. See? Again, I'm learning. I'm learning as I go, and sometimes that's one of the better ways to. Oops, I still got it on the mesh. Ways to do things is you learn how you go, as you go. So I'm gonna put her on time lapse here, and I've got probably another 10-15 minutes. I'm gonna see how far I get in the next 10-15 minutes, because again, I don't want to spend all day on this thing. I do want to have a really cool, man, that's really dark. Okay, so let's go back. I still want to have a cool, a piece that I can start from, but I don't want to spend, all freaking day on it. And what I encourage you to do as you do these illustrations, as you do these pieces, as you explore, have lots of reference on hand. Of course, I did this pretty much without reference. I don't, I don't typically do that. But in the same accord, I really wanted to have a free-form creative feel to it. I had sketched out Rocket ahead of time. Of course, that particular sketch really didn't, I don't want to say it helped me because it did, but it kind of got me into the mood of drawing. But at the end of the day, I didn't really use it. I just came up with a brand new gesture, a brand new sketch, and so I'm going to continue on, and hopefully I'll come out with something here in the next couple days, because I'm going to spend probably 10 hours on this bad boy. Maybe 8. I really wanted to, explore the program and see where it came out on the other side. All right, thank you. We'll see you next time. All right, everybody, that's the final. Just wanted to say thanks to everybody who is visiting the channel. Share and subscribe, and I've got a lot more content coming up. I'm going to be doing a couple tutorials, digital illustrations, so hope to see you there. Thanks, bye.